Welcome and thanks so much for joining us here on the Owatonna Today Show. I'm Deb Gillard, your host, and today is Friday, June 1st. Did I get that right? This week, and you know, it always sets me off with Memorial Day. Anyway, I was kind of having trouble keeping track of my days this week, but we are on the 1st of June. We are so glad you're with us, whether you found us on Charter Channel 8 locally in the Owatonna area or have found us in many of the ways that you can on the internet. Certainly, if you just Google us, you're going to get there, and we are on Facebook as well. So like us when you get there, and then you'll get updates of when our programs are uploaded onto the internet. You can watch us there as well. Please take note of our cell phone and email address on the screen throughout the course of the program as well. We welcome your information to us about guest ideas and show topics and the like. We also, of course, would not be here with you at all if it were not for the generosity of our Owatonna Today Show supporters, and so we hope that when you're out and about and we mention who they are, that you tell them thank you. We certainly appreciate them, and we hope that you also, if possible, patronize their businesses and support their organizations. Our premier supporters are the City of Owatonna, Express Employment Professionals, Mayo Clinic Health System Owatonna, the Owatonna Public Utilities, and Safe and Drug-Free Coalition of Steele County. Our primary supporters, Amy Swain Hearing Centers, Little Theater of Owatonna, the Owatonna Care Center, and Steele County Historical Society. And our interlude supporters include Abraham Consulting Technologies, A+ Soenvac, Glenn Mager and Tim Thomas of the Breckmager Funeral Home and Medford Funeral Home, Brookdale Senior Living, Sterling House, and Clare Bridge of Owatonna, Carlson Brandstead and Company CPAs, ERA Gillespie Real Estate, Fairview Animal Medical Center, Horizon Eye Care Professionals, Clancher & Son Landscaping and Concrete, Napa Auto Parts, the Owatonna Business Incubator, Pizza Ranch of Owatonna, Profinium Financial, Snap Fitness, Summit Mortgage, and TPS Insurance. And again, thank you to all of our supporters. If you are interested in becoming a supporter of the show or know of someone who is, please get a hold of Leanne at 390-5751, and she'll be happy to get you a supporter packet. And if at any time you would like to make a contribution to the program, you can do that by sending it to Owatonna Today, 1130 North Elm here in Owatonna. We have a very good show for you today. Coming up later on in the program, Representative Kory Kath will be joining us. We'll be recapping the legislative session and find out how everything shook out. We have him on, of course, several times during the course of the session. But when we get back from our first break, we'll be talking with Karen Hanson from Home Instead Senior Care. She's going to provide us with some great information about her business and how to keep seniors and ourselves safe and well in our homes. So let's take our first break for our supporters, and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Hello, I'm Shawn McNulty with the Sterling House Assisted Living, a part of Brookdale Senior Living. Our mission is to enrich the lives of those we serve with compassion, respect, excellence, and integrity. We are a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, I'm Dr. Beth Giltvet of Horizon Eye Care Professionals, eye care you can trust. We're proud supporters of Owatonna Today.
Hi, I'm Glenn Mager.
And I'm Tim Thomas of the Breckmager Funeral Home, and we're proud to serve the Medford and Owatonna areas with cremation and traditional funeral services.
And we're proud to be a part of the Owatonna Today Show.
Welcome back, and thanks again for joining us on this Friday, June 1st. And Karen Hanson joins us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're going to try to make it through with a little bit of tickle in your throat here. She came in today and said, "Oh no," so that's okay. I'll rescue you if you if you have the coughing jag or something. But last time we had you on the program, we had you here and we were talking about the Senior Expo. Mm-hmm. The business that you have is Home Instead Senior Care. So let's just, I think we may have touched on it a little bit when you were here last time, but just as a refresher for our viewers, explain a little bit about what Home Instead is about.
So we're a non-medical home care agency that goes into the homes of seniors, and we provide assistance with meal preparation, light housekeeping, transporting to appointments, out to eat, and then assistance with bathing and dressing and those types of services. So that array of care can be quite widespread of what we do, but that kind of just lightly touches it. Okay. And we cover 11 county radius, and Steele County is actually one of them. Okay. So, yeah.
And we were just asking, too, just so we know, as an aside, the Senior Expo went very well, didn't it?
It was very wonderful. It was such a beautiful day.
It was a nice day and well attended. Yep. Well, good for you, and good for you for being part of that.
Yeah.
So, Home Instead Senior Care, then, you've kind of explained what it is. And what we want to talk about today is some things, how to keep the home safe for our seniors. And then a little bit after that, we want to talk about how we also take care of ourselves when we're perhaps taking care of somebody else.
Yep. So some important things to remember if you in a loved one's home to have for a senior is to keep the environment simple and uncluttered so that they're not at risk for falls. Look for and eliminate dangerous objects and situations. Keep cleaning supplies, art supplies, medications, and poisonous houseplants out of their reach and put away. Really important to use night lights in the halls and bedrooms and bathrooms, and guardrails on beds if needed, so that if they are to get up in the middle of the night to use the restroom or need to get a drink of water, that they can see where they're going and keep them safe and not at a risk for a fall there. And then install the grab bars and non-skid tape in bathrooms, tubs, and showers to eliminate that risk for falls with them too. So that's some really important things to do for them.
Okay. You mentioned too, and we all have, throw rugs perhaps around the house. It's not an easy thing. I catch myself, skidding and falling or tripping on that. But for someone who's not maybe walking as steady as they used to, maybe catching a foot on that could be really catastrophic.
Very, very dangerous. And so many people have them, and it's such a hard thing for people to give up. But it's really important because that does make you at a big risk for falls.
Okay. When we're thinking about things like that, I guess just to kind of, I suppose you almost have to look at your home with that in mind, not look at you like you normally do, just coming in, okay, this is okay for me, this is okay for me, but you have to look at it as a potential safety issue for someone who may have those things. So you have to look at those throw rugs and say, well, they're very attractive, but I can't have that now because it's, or I can't have that in this person's home. We can't have that because it is the potential for falling. And as we all know, the older we get, the harder it is to recover from some of those things too, if there's a bone break or a fall that causes some other sort of
And our
medical
balance,
injury.
typically in a senior, that the balance is off too, so you can't catch yourself, like we could if we tripped on a throw rug.
Maybe. Speak for yourself. I'd probably break a wrist or something, but anyway, okay.
But yeah, that's so important. And as part of our service, when we first come into the home, we have a checklist that we look at, like for the rugs and the smoke alarms and the grab bars and making sure that they're safe and installed properly. So we do kind of all that stuff before we start service, and then have recommendations for people, if they need to, if there's things that we see maybe are unsafe for them.
All right. So, and some of the things that you mentioned are the typical, probably the big red flags that you see when you're coming into the house for the assessment. And how does your business work then? When you come in and you make that assessment, or and people can use you, you mentioned all sorts of different ways that they can use you for housekeeping and kind of company or...
Yep, so the socialization aspect is so important with seniors, that they sometimes just get lonely, want someone to eat with. A lot of times you see that if they're not eating, if they don't have someone to eat with, they don't eat correctly, then they don't take their medications correctly, and then we have falls, and then they end up in the nursing homes where most of them don't want to be. So that kind of, we can come in and do that, with them, eat a meal with them, or make sure they take their meds correctly, and to keep them at home. And it's such simple tasks, that we're able to help them with.
Yep, that's going to help them. It's going to help us probably if we can keep them in their homes. What other things can we do to make life a little bit easier for our seniors?
I think a big thing too is that how we communicate with them.
Okay.
So we need to speak respectfully to them and don't talk down to them. Use familiar terms and concrete words, especially for those that we have with Alzheimer's. Ask questions that require a yes or no response. Redirect the situation when needed so that they're not focusing on things that maybe are making them anxious.
Okay.
And then if they do have any verbal outbursts due to where they're at mentally, ignore that. Don't make a big deal about it. Just let it go and go on with things.
Okay. Okay. Then if we're in a caregiving situation, there are things we need to remember for ourselves. And of course, keeping seniors in their homes longer mean most of us as family members will be more involved in that day-to-day care, whether it's actually day-to-day or we're stepping in at some point. In keeping them there, we've got more involvement. So what do we need to do to keep ourselves healthier and better able to assist that person?
Yep. So I think it's really important that we know 1 in 4 Americans serve as a family caregiver. So that's it's a pretty high statistic.
That is.
91% of them feel that episodes of feeling anxious or irritable. 73% have disturbed sleep patterns, and 50% seem to become more ill.
Now you're talking about the caregivers.
The caregivers, yes,
Okay.
yes. But some important tips to remember for yourselves is to exercise for 20 minutes at least 3 times per week.
Okay.
To eat well. I think we sometimes tend to kind of forget about ourselves. Meditate. Just take time for yourself to just relax. Attend to personal medical needs, and I've kind of experienced that recently myself with monitoring my mom's blood pressure, but not keeping track of my own, which I'm supposed to be watching too, but
Okay.
making sure that I'm doing that correctly with her. So that's really important. And then get help from family members, friends, volunteers, or professional non-medical caregivers that can help you out if need be. And don't be afraid to call siblings and ask them. I think that's really important to have that open communication with your family members.
Hopefully, as more and more seniors are staying in their homes too, and there are other aspects of caring for them other than, like you said, just, at one time there was home and then there was the nursing home, and there are all sorts of varying degrees of that now, and certainly keeping seniors in their home is something they very much, most of the time, want to do, and their families want them to as well. So there are more and more family members involved,
Yep.
and I think, as caregivers, I think we need to remind the caregivers that they need to be able to ask, to speak up and say, okay, I need this. I need some time. I need some time away. I need you to step in. I need to get some help, maybe from a service like
Right.
Home Instead.
Right.
I need to get a little assistance with this. And that is a really interesting point. Then you're saying, sometimes if we're taking care of someone else, whether it be young or old, and you're preparing those meals and making sure they get everything they need, taking their medication, sometimes our own
We forget.
issues slide. So there are things you don't want to do because you won't be able to take care of them
Right.
as well if you're not well.
Right.
So
And there is a
kinds of things.
website, caregiverstress.com, that is
Really?
that Home Instead has, that you can go to, take a 20-question test to see where your stress level is.
Okay.
And then some other resources available that we have is the Home Care Solution Booklet, which is a guide for families that are looking at all array of home care services and kind of
Okay.
educates them on it.
Okay,
The
on what they
47, yep, the 40-70 rule and the 70-40 rule, which is kind of how to have them starter conversations with your loved ones.
Really?
Of how they want things to go.
Okay.
For themselves. And then we also have the Senior Emergency Kit, and that is something that you can take. It has, when you go to doctor visits, there's a form there you can take to write down how the visit went, medications that your loved one's on, allergies, all those types of things. And so those are all things that you can get from us at Home Instead Senior Care, and if you would like to do that, you need to just contact me and I would get that mailed off to you at no cost.
Okay, and I think we have your contact information there, Karen. We have a website for people to go to. These are a lot of great tools and resources, and you mentioned doctor visits and even having all the right things there so that doctor appointment goes as
Right.
well as you would like it to, both from the doctor's standpoint and from the patient's standpoint as well. A lot of great information, and I'm sure you have more to share with us, so hopefully we'll have you back on the program again
Sounds
in the
great.
future. But Home Instead Senior Care, Karen Hanson, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break for our supporters, and we'll be right back.
I'm Diane Wilson of Profinium Financial, the bank that helps you achieve your financial dreams. Profinium Financial is proud to be a supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, Ann Plaskanko here from Senior Place. Senior Place has new hours. Mondays and Fridays we're open 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Participate in Zumba Gold, Bike Club, table tennis, computer classes, speakers, and much more. Don't forget the Senior Place Partnership Program with 39 businesses giving discounts and incentives with your Senior Place membership card. Membership is only $35 for the year, which comes to just $3 a month to be a member. Consider joining us today.
Hello, I'm Matthew Camp, the new plastic surgeon at Mayo Clinic Health System of Owatonna and Albert Lea. I trained in medical school at Wake Forest in North Carolina and completed plastic surgery training in Southern California at Loma Linda. Plastic surgeons provide a wide range of aesthetic and reconstructive surgery. We operate from head to toe. I look forward to meeting you.
Hi, I'm Brenda Bednar with Summit Mortgage, and I'm a proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
I needed more than just another dead-end job. I wanted a career, so I expressed myself.
With the kids off to college, I decided it was time for me to go back to work and express myself.
Express got me in touch with some really great companies. Now, I'm on my way to a great career.
Express Employment Professionals is in contact with thousands of companies in need of quality employees. Come in now and get the job you deserve.
Express yourself today.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on this Friday, June 1st. As I mentioned, Representative Kory Kath joins us, and well, we'll get to that, but Representative, at least for now, right?
Till January.
Till
at least,
January, okay. And as I mentioned, we'll get to that a little bit later on in the conversation. But You've been very good at coming on the program and letting us know what's coming up for session, what's been happening in session, and now, of course, we recently finished.
Absolutely, and it's only about 2 weeks ago, two and a half
is,
weeks ago. So time is flying,
is.
and I always say that at the end of the school year and things like that, you start to smell the flowers in the air, and the next thing you know, we're already at June and almost July there. So
I know it.
It goes fast.
So session actually officially ended with the, I think it was a late night for you, wasn't it?
It was.
Or early morning, or whatever you want to call it.
It was crazy. What's so funny is that the legislative day doesn't actually end till 7 a.m. the next morning. So if you're in Wednesday, you can actually go till 7 a.m. on Thursday, and that's kind of what we did. We went till about 6:30, and so it was definitely late. My wife called me. She was up with the kids, and I was up at the Capitol, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to rest for a little bit, and then I'll be home, because we had just wrapped up our workday.
Oh, my goodness. So let's talk about overall, I guess.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the bonding that occurred, of course, this year.
Yeah, this is a bonding year, and that's really the main goal of the legislative session. And what's so kind of ironic or unique about that is that most of the session didn't deal with that. We didn't really see a lot of the bonding until about the last 2 weeks.
When push comes to shove, right?
It does, and it's one of those things that, I get it. I'm in politics, and so you see some of that happen. But I'm very thankful that it did come to fruition. It was a very good bill, about $500 million, really looked at nuts and bolts. So you're talking about higher education and just kind of the needs for those facilities. Many of them workforce training centers. These are campuses that are trying to train those next level of jobs that are out there, and job providers are asking for this type of training. Something that's exciting about that is that Faribault got a substantial amount there to add on to their workforce training at South Central. And so it's going to be a great asset for our community as we send people to that campus to be trained and to get those good paying jobs. Along with that then, a lot of bonding that goes for rural roads and bridges, dealing with issues of infrastructure within just state agencies. And then the Capitol was part of that. We have a lot of restoration that needs to be done in the Capitol. Some people kind of see it as self-serving, that, oh, sure, you guys are putting money into the building where you work. But the fact is, it is the people's Capitol.
And it's an old building.
It is.
And they do have to be, we're sitting in one right now up here at the West Hills, and we have all heard locally about you don't just let an old building sit. There are many, many things that have to be done to it, and they have to be done the right way.
Exactly.
In order to keep it structurally sound and, keep the integrity there. So
exactly, and it is going to take years. One of the things that I think is unique is that the legislature will have to leave for approximately 3 to 4 years. And they will have to find an alternative facility in which to meet, because the renovation is going to be of that capital, that capacity to make sure that for another 100 or 150 years, we're talking about very structurally sound, making sure that we have HVAC systems, and just the integrity of that building will be held forever.
Will be comprehensive. Any ideas as to where they'll end up meeting?
No, and that will be very interesting to watch, because it is such an honor to serve, and when you sit under the lights of that, House chamber or the Senate chamber, you just are in awe of what it is. And I think sometimes that's what tones some of the people down, to recognize you are in a building that deserves that respect. And so I'm a little worried about where they're going to go, and what the sessions will look like, as they're
and you
out of
kind
that
of
building.
need everybody all in one place too. You can't have things and committees scattered all over the place. That really everybody has to come together and converge. That'll be an interesting thing to watch.
It'll be fun to watch.
Okay. Of course, Vikings. We're on the Vikings and the stadium on everybody's mind, and so that, of course, was the thing that brought it to the late date, or mostly, or.
I don't know. It's so funny because everybody talks about it, because I think the media, no fault of your own, but the media really took off on this Vikings thing. If somebody moved their pencil a little different in committee, people would start to question, what did that mean? Where are they at with the Vikings and things? But to tell you the truth, for myself anyway, the Vikings were not on my radar during this session. It wasn't a priority. And to tell you the truth, everybody I was talking to, it wasn't their number one task that session.
Okay.
It's just that some of the stars kind of started to align. I think nobody can deny the fact that the governor wanted to see it get done. I think he knew and saw it as a state asset and wanted to keep it on there, and wanted to set that as a priority. So it kind of came together. The 3 things that I said before I could vote for it is, first of all, absolutely no statewide general tax should be used for it. Okay. And there isn't. There are the e-poll tabs, which people can either either like or dislike, but the fact is that that's the revenue source that will go for it.
Okay.
As a backup to that, there will be the suites that are within the new stadium. There will be a tax on those tickets that go for those.
Okay.
And so it's kind of, for lack of a better term, a user's fee within that.
Kind
So
of,
if you're going
okay.
to attend that, you would be paying for some of that stadium. The Vikings stepped up and actually offered more, and we will probably see them even step up more as we go through the progress or the process of designing that stadium.
Okay.
And that'll be happening very soon because Minneapolis did pass it, and it's now ready to go to that design phase.
Okay, okay. Other legislation that happened that you think is key that should be mentioned throughout the whole process?
A few things that I think are very good. At the beginning of the session, and I talked about this when I was here earlier, was the streamlining of permitting, and so we're at another phase of that, which I think is really good to just streamline that for our business community and things like that, to say that we don't have to have all these hoops or repetitive hoops that people have to jump through in that process. Second thing would be the the neglected adult law, which was actually put forward to try and protect some of these vulnerable adults, and to say that people that are taking advantage of them at that stage in their life, and I know you just had a guest on that talked about just people supporting those vulnerable adults out there.
Yeah.
And this law was actually very comprehensive, and it was years in the making, and it was really neat to see that come to fruition because it's going to be a very good thing for the state of Minnesota. So,
absolutely.
we hear a lot of the bickering and things like that, but a lot of good things do happen in a legislative session. It's too bad that those are not usually the headlines either.
I was going to say it's too bad those don't get a little more of the press play, because they're good and important and long-lasting and are just going to be really good things, but they're not the sensational stuff.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
we don't often hear. Kind of an overall assessment, how do you feel like everything went? I know it's had its frustrations.
Yeah.
You're in politics, it does, but as it all shook out, how do you feel?
I think overall we did not accomplish as much as I thought we would. That I really felt as though when we started off the session, we did the permitting bill and the governor, and this was after a very tough special session and a government shutdown. I thought we kind of started off on a foot that was maybe going to be trying to reconcile some of those relationships, and I think you still saw that there were a little bit of that frustration that was still there, and a lot of that is that when you have a change in great leadership, a great change of that, because you've got the governor, you've got the House and the Senate all changing hands. When you have that, everybody kind of wants to posture themselves as, I don't want to be steamrolled. Well, the fact is at some point in time, and I always tell people that are up there, aren't you married? Don't you know compromise is the key to success there? And so we need to make sure that we look at that.
How
as,
is your marriage anyway, if you
this
haven't
is
learned
it,
that?
and so I'm hoping that within the next session that people will start to recognize that I think the citizens of Minnesota want people to compromise and want to get together. It's the idea that you have to reach an agreement, but you don't have to agree on all of it. That you can go home and say, there's some aspects of this that I didn't like, but the fact is we need to reach an agreement to move Minnesota forward.
There were other aspects of it that were important that I did like and I was able to take care of. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, as people might know or they might not, depending on our viewers, you have decided not to rerun, I guess is why. Is that, did I say that right?
Rerun for your re-election there. And really a lot of people have talked to me or called me on it. We just did our last parade, the Memorial Day parade on Monday, and it was just a beautiful parade, and everybody's saying, please, don't, and it's an honor to serve, and it truly was to represent the communities that I grew up in my entire life and all my family. I mean, what an honor. But I started receiving graduation announcements, and it really dawned on me. My daughter's going into kindergarten. I said, she is a third of the way through my house. And for 4 years, there was about half of the year that I just wasn't there. And she came up to me and said, congratulations, Daddy, on being home. And I knew it was the right decision. And sometimes we make those choices in life where you just know it's right. And it is right. This is not goodbye, though. I still have a huge passion for public service, and as an educator, have been in the classroom and continue, we'll plan to be in education and be strong within my leadership in that capacity. But it's definitely not goodbye. I want to make sure that these communities are growing and fostering, and I want to be a part of that.
Okay. Well, we wish you the very, very best of luck and enjoying your family and home life a little bit more now, and we'll be excited to hear how things play out for you. And you've been a great asset, I think, to our legislature, and you've been a great guest to have here on the program, letting us know what's been going on. So
thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Kory, and best of luck with everything you do.
Thanks.
All right. We'll take a break for our supporters, and we'll come back to wrap up.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Jake with Napa Auto Parts.
Napa has the know-how for all your automotive needs.
Napa is a proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
The Owatonna Care Center is excited to announce our new partnership with Dr. Middle and Dr. Wilcox of Long-Term Care Professionals. This partnership ensures that residents can be seen right here at the Owatonna Care Center when needed. With the special on-site care long-term care professionals will be delivering to our facility, our goal is to decrease hospital visits and ensure special one-on-one care for each resident. Long-term care professionals and the Owatonna Care Center are dedicated to improving the clinical management for our residents, ensuring that they receive the highest quality of care.
Do you know how to safely dispose of your expired or unused prescription and non-prescription medications? Not by flushing them down the toilet or putting them in the garbage. Doing so pollutes our rivers, streams, and drinking water supply. Take it to the box instead for safe, secure disposal. It's easy. Bring your unused medications in their original containers to the drop-off locations listed on the screen and drop them in the Take It to the Box drop box. Proper disposal of unwanted medications keeps them out of the hands of children and out of our environment. This is a message from the Safe and Drug-Free Coalition of Steele County.
Welcome back as we wrap up the program here on this Monday. Wow, Friday. I've got a weekend between now and Monday. Okay, on this Friday, June 1st, and a few reminders for you. Of course, it is the Night to Prevent Child Abuse that is going on this evening at the Eagles Club at 7 o'clock. If you would still like to join them, I'm sure you can. And I don't know about the Golf to Prevent Child Abuse. They may have filled up all the spots for tomorrow that's going on at Brooktree, but in any case, if you have questions about it, I would call the Center for Family Unity at 363-1118 to find out any more information about either of the events, the Night to Prevent Child Abuse this evening or the Golf to Prevent Child Abuse tomorrow. Great opportunities to support our Center for Family Unity here in the area. Of course, Smokin' in Steel starts today and goes on through Sunday. Let's see here. I'm not exactly sure of the times that everything is. I think it's kicks off today at around noon. In fact, there are opportunities, yes, I know, for people to come out and have lunch today, depending on when you're seeing this. The food, I think, and entertainment starts today, continues throughout Friday and all of throughout Saturday. There are vendors out there for you to take advantage of, some great barbecue flavors and tastes and all sorts of good things. And, of course, the competitive aspect of the barbecuing is going to be going on, and so that you'll have all sorts of great smells and see some really neat teams out there that do this on a professional level. Lots of great music continues throughout the course of the event, Friday and Saturday, both in the Fair Square area and in the beer gardens at the Steele County Fairgrounds. And I think they wrap it all up with a pancake breakfast on Sunday morning. I'm pretty sure that's in the beer gardens, but don't quote me on that. If you have need of more information, just go to www.smokinandsteel.com, and I know you will find out more information about the exact times of those things, like the pancake breakfast. Retrofit Companies, as we found out earlier in the week, is doing their electronic recycling day. That is tomorrow, this Saturday, from 9 to noon, June 2nd. And they are located at 3855 Highway 14 West, Owatonna. Just head out that way toward Waseca, and you'll run into the Retrofit Companies. All sorts of great opportunities to recycle your electronics at very, very, very good prices. Can't put them in the trash, can't dispose of them in other ways. They're going to take care of disposing them properly, and you got some great things that you can get rid of for free or for very low cost, and you can get a hold of the Retrofit Companies or go to their website as well to find out a little bit more about that. Coming up next week, among other things, we will have for you some bird counting, Safe and Drug-Free Coalition. We will be out at Smokin' and Steel, so we'll have some interviews following that. Harry Wenger Marching Band Festival and Coda Living Community all on the docket for next week. Have a great weekend.